Well, hi everyone, David Cross, and a real quick update on that project I started with this PowerShell, and it's progressing quite well, and I think to the point I could start going down other paths with other solutions. But anybody that's watched, I want to give you a real quick update. So I've done a little bit of, well, a lot since I last did this video. So a couple of things in the key highlights here. Again, building on that API concept, and I started to add new APIs. But I wanted the ability to restrict the VLAN, so just in this little applet, having the ability to either automatically populate the VLAN, which would go out and call the export of the child block by its UDF and parse it out. I now can have it so you can just load it manually if you're not trying to do any type of, VLAN work. Secondly, when you get down into these object details, I've started to set some of the default values, which I think I'm going to build a tab and allow the user to set up all of their predefined preferences, saving the details, how to load it, save it, back it up, all of that I think I'll do in a separate tab for this. The domains and the resource record flag, still some checks I need to take care of here, but I did add a couple of features for checking and unchecking all of the devices. So as an example, if I go in and add 5 devices, and I can now selectively pick and choose if I want to select the IP to device, and I can selectively roll those back, because there's a couple of checks. Otherwise, it'll roll back everything. I could check or uncheck, which will give me a count and how many are checked, and then also roll back those devices there. Now, one of the things I added was a search capability, which I also provided here at this level, and I'll go ahead and show it here now. But the other is to use one of the existing APIs, which is the Get IP Address API in the PowerShell module. And it effectively went out and did a get or export of all of those IP devices or ones selected. Now, the format of this also includes a DNS check, which as I built in this, it would go out and do a DNS lookup, right? And I'll show you that through the reporting. So here you can automatically, roll back just the IP addresses if you want to keep the others. And when you're done, you're done. And you can, kind of deselect the addresses to clean up, as you move along. Now, in terms of the searches, I've added the IP device search and pretty much all of its capable selectors. I tried to automate most of the selection in terms of what the comparators are for equals and when to quote and not quote. And so far that seems to work as well. And so I, for things like looking for devices of names that contain SRV, to selectively pick and choose, to quickly be able to select all of them. I'm going to have some other features here for ping, delete, and things like the get IP device, which is kind of where I started that feature. So this will then go out. It does do a ping before a sign. It checks up the DNS lookup. And if it can find any of that information in DNS, it will report it back. And then this device details, I'm going to have basically a form which will walk through each of those individual records kind of in a form context. Of course, your JSON, and then I'll have a virtual list view that allow you for high performance lists, etc. And a couple of the things that we'll probably end up doing here in terms of the auditing and the history and some other capabilities. Now, a couple of things that also we've added, like the UDFs, so that when the fields are assigned at the device level, if I had a specific ID, I could tell it to, contains, and then do something like API, I believe is valid, and that'll give us the records there again. And again, we can go in and start deleting and looking it up. So that's, again, just a couple more hours since the initial start of this. And again, my point is, that this PowerShell is great, taking advantage of all of those API modules and all those little routines. And it even helped me to kind of organize and build out my API. So with that PowerShell Studio, which has been fantastic so far, I've loaded in with my modules, and I've been able to, build some installers and some other things which have been very helpful. So look forward to that. It should be out soon. And again, I'm kind of progressing with getting this module out so that others can take advantage of it. And what I'm thinking about with this is, when I deploy this, to have the module itself, but also perhaps the source code. So I'm going to have to think about that. And depending on if I license it or not, how that will work. So anyway, hope everything was, if you see something again that you're interested in or you have some questions about, let me know. And there's a lot of API work, and the reason I'm doing this is for the demonstration of API work. And there's a lot of things that we can do with this, and we can keep progressing, building out DNS, DHCP. We can build out reports, which are effectively, different types of selectors that you have, have different ands and ors. And so, I may do that type of thing here and kind of effectively build a report generator, allow you to select the fields and then output it to a different format. Maybe anding these fields, so if I wanted to and multiple fields, have a little checkbox that adds the additionals. So, maybe doing that. And with the holiday coming up, I'm gonna have a lot of time to do that. So expect maybe another video or two. So thanks for bearing with me, and have a great holiday if we don't talk. And if we do talk, we'll cover some other things. So if you have any questions, let me know. Take care, everybody. Bye.